Hi, so we will be seeing this process, which is ST5 Sales Tax Exception Certificate request. So before I run this process, let us see the problem statement. So currently, the ST5 is used in 3 states in the United States. And usually, what the manual business pain is, they received the email from the vendor requesting for this ST5 Sales Tax Exempt Certificate, and then they identify those vendors in their database, extract necessary information from the email. So basically, the email communication is very free text and it varies from vendor to vendor. So, and identify the missing information, also follow up with the vendor if needed, search for the ST5 certificate, which they need to fill out, and then fill out that form and send it back to the vendor. So all this process is very manual. So basically, in order to let you know what exactly the ST5 is, it allows organization to purchase goods and services without paying sales tax. So if they do not show valid ST5 certificate, then they will lose the dollar amount in sales tax. So right now the manual challenge is manual effort, repetitive email handling, missing information, delayed turnaround times, audit tracking overhead, and inconsistent processing. So here I have also given the examples. Suppose, for example, let me just increase it. Suppose, suppose for example, a non-profit buys office medical supplies worth 10,000. Normally, they did pay 10,662 with the New Jersey tax sales tax being 6.625. With the ST5 valid certification, if they send it to the vendor, then they would just need to pay the $10,000. They do not have to pay extra $62, right? So imagine, this is just an example. Imagine they are dealing with the supplies of more than 50,000 or so on. So how much they will save. So this is currently a manual process, and we have tried to automate it. And this process is also a reusable process. So we can create a reusable component out of it, and the client or businesses who are using ST5 certificate, they can easily use this. So it's a real use case, and it's a ready to use as well. So first of all, we to replicate the scenario, I will be sending this particular email. So if you notice in the email, this is a vendor email, sorry, my vendor name. This is a patient monitoring equipment. So this is the services they have asked for or delivered, and this is the location where they have delivered the services on this particular date, right? So let me just send this. While running the process, I will also let you know what exactly it is and how it going to run. So once we receive the email, so we must have received the email. So now let me just start the process. So the process has started, and we can see here, we'll soon see in the logs over here. Okay, so it has started. It will first verify, it will get the latest email from the vendor. So basically, this automation will run every whenever the email is received. So if you have seen, it has extracted this email, and it is verifying whether this particular vendor is a valid vendor or not. So in our database, this vendor is a valid vendor. So if you notice this, so the step is for verification of a vendor. It says true, this vendor is true. Now the coding agent is running. So the for coding agent, the input is for email. So if I give you the show you the coding agent, so this is the coding agent we have created. And suppose, for example, if you have given this particular email body, then it is extracting all this necessary information correctly, like transaction date, vendor name, service provided, location, service provided, etc. So let it run. And we have created it using the VS. So now once we receive all this information, the next step is to populate ST certificate for the vendor. So this is a very standard ST certificate used by the engine. So as this is a demo, so I have created the test ST certificate, but overall the concept would remain the same. So now whatever the coded agent extracted the information, it is entering the transaction date, vendor name, and the service provided, which is nothing but the description of the purchase, and then saving this certificate and sending it to the vendor. So if suppose, for example, if vendor is not valid, then it will go to the human validation. So it is saving the form with the vendor name, and then it is sending that email to vendor with the ST5 form. And it is also logging the transaction. So here we have seen that, suppose, for example, if vendor is not valid, then it will go to the human task. So we have seen the how it can help the business to uh, do this agentic automation. So if you see, we have just received this requested ST5 form. So I have used this coded agent. So I have created using the Python and line graph. And also, suppose, for example, for coded apps, so you have also come up with the coded app. So suppose, for example, for the human validation, we can also do this coded app where we can show the vendor email agent extraction. So for the validation of the human. And this is how it looks like. And also we have used the context grounding for this agent verification vendor. So if we see this vendor, then we are using this index context grounding so that it can verify whether it is a valid vendor or not. These are the files, agents, and coded agents we have used for this process. So this is how we are going to help out the business with this whole agentic ST5 certification. We will read out the email from the vendor, extract the necessary information. We are also going to follow up with the vendor if if there is any missing information, and then populate that form and send out to the vendor. So this is a real use case. It can be packaged and used by the multiple clients. Thank you.